Hi, I'm March from StrataGames, and today we're playing some Mono White Heroic. Now, this is a deck that I wanted to try again with a new card from Secrets of Strixhaven. We got Dig Site Inventory, which is a functional reprint of Homestead Courage. This means it's exactly the same with a different name, so we can play up to 8 copies of this now. Does this deck want 8 copies? I'm not exactly sure, but I figured we'd give it a try because Homestead Courage is a card that is usually played in this deck and is usually pretty good. So we're playing 8 copies now. This gives +1/+1 counter and vigilance and has flashback, which means it targets your heroic creatures twice. Because it gives vigilance, I figured we should try a solid footing build, which gives +1/+1, and as long as the creature has vigilance, it deals damage equal to its toughness, which basically gives Trailblazer an extra +4, and Armadillo, which we're going to be playing here, an extra +4 as well. We also have Sentinel's Eyes to give vigilance, so we have 11 ways to make sure that the solid footing gives that extra buff. And other than that, we're playing pretty standard cards: Emergent Scathed and Benevolent Blessing for protection, some Spirit Link for life gain, Ethereal Armor, and Hyena Umbra. We're also playing Plains and 4 Remote Farm. This is MTG's Sodek is one of the main pilots of this deck, and one of his inventions, I believe, or creations. Innovations, whatever you want to call it. But Remote Farm is a way to speed up your clock a little bit by an extra turn in the early game. And then in our sideboard, we have Death Speakers for those black matchups, Mask of Long Grace for both black and red, Shield of Duty and Reason for green and blue, more Spirit Link, Thraben Charm, Journey to Nowhere, and a Fairy Macabre. So let's take this for a league and see how we do.
Thanks to Card Market for sponsoring this video. I've written a comprehensive guide on how to play White Weenie in Pauper, including my ideal stock list, over 30 sideboard matchups, and a sideboard cheat sheet, which gives you a very easy snapshot view and what to sideboard for every single matchup. I also have guides for Black Sack and Esper Affinity. Each guide is only $15, and if you buy one, you will get all future updates that I ever make to that guide for free. I also offer coaching, so if you're interested in upping your Pauper game for any of the decks that I'm very proficient in, or if you're interested in having me play your deck in a future video, you can do a deck donation, which is the only way you'll ever see me playing Cycle Storm or Flickertron.
Alright, on the play here, and hand is okay. We have one creature. It's not one of our ones that grows, and we don't have steady footing, but we have protection, ways to give vigilance, so I think we'll try it. Armadillo, of course, is decent here because it also just has inherent protection of Ward 1, which seems pretty small, but can be pretty important. Ward 1 means even if we are on the draw and we play this on turn 1 and they have 2 mana on turn 2, they can't cast it down right away. And since it has 4 toughness, it's hard to lightning bolt. There's a lot of ways that it can survive general removal. Preordain makes me think probably blue black or something. Blue red. I think I want a Hyena Umbra and Sentinel's Eyes. I definitely want to hold up Emergent Scathed, but I think I just need to get some damage going, especially because it's only 2 until I have a way to pump the toughness, like solid footing, or we get up to 4 mana here. Now they're holding up double blue for Counterspell, which will probably be used on a Crone Skyguard. Prohibit. Okay, could be Familiars. It's the only deck that usually plays Prohibit, in which case Snap is the main thing we need to worry about, so I really do need to hold up Emergent Scathed, because if they get a Snap, that's going to be very, very bad. Yep, Chancery, definitely Familiars. Spirit Link doesn't do more damage, and I really don't care about the life gain. So we're just gonna start holding up Emergent Scathed and hoping we have enough damage here in a fast enough time. There's a Familiar. Fortunately, they could have Snap plus Counterspell, or they could just have double Snap. Can't do much about it. C8 Oracle. Something like Benevolent Blessing off the top would be really good here too, because I could give Pro Blue. That means they can't chump with this guy. Plus, I couldn't get snapped. Well, we'll make it 5 power, swing, see if they want to chump here, which they do, makes sense. If this was either of our other creatures, the Skyguard came too late, came 1 turn too late because they had Counterspell up, but if it was either of the other creatures and was growing, we could have already had them dead, or if we had a Remote Farm. This is definitely not the best start against a slow opponent like this. They evoke a Muldrifter, and then they're going to Meeting of Minds, Dig Site Inventory. I mean, I'm not going to use Emergent Scathed proactively, and we're basically all in on this anyway. So might as well make it big enough that they feel forced to chump. No, they don't. They just take 7. Pass the turn. Another Familiar. And an Archaeomancer. For a Meeting of Minds. Spirit Link. Well, I can't get this to lethal regardless, even if I tried to go proactively with Emergent Scathed. Plus they have 2 colors of creatures. And I know they have a Meeting of Minds to gain an extra life, so we'll just pump it up as much as I can, give it lifelink. I cast Meeting here. I'll gain 8 life. Mystic. That's pretty rough. There's the Snap. We'll emerge, and if they counter it, we'll just concede. Or if they have another Snap. And they do. Yeah, we just had a really slow start, even though they also had a pretty slow one. It did not work out. Shield of Duty and Reason is probably good. Journey to Nowhere, probably decent. We don't need the life links or spirit links. We truly don't really need vigilance that much, although that's kind of what our whole build is about, unfortunately. Hyena Umbra is irrelevant because they're not going to ever kill it. They're always going to bounce it. So actually maybe we just cut those. Oh, am I playing a 16 card deck, or 61 card deck actually? That was a mistake, but I suppose we're on 61. All right, we have a turn 2 creature, and then we have protection for it. We're going to keep. It's not great not having a turn 1, but we're on the play. So if we Skyguard on turn 2, if they just snap it right away, it's a little annoying. Especially if they then have a counter spell for it. But if they don't, then I can protect it the following turn. That's what we're hoping for. We got an Armadillo as a backup. That's decent. So let's solid footing this to give it a counter, hit for some real damage, and if they want to counter this, then I can Shield of Duty and Reason. And if they want to snap it, then I can Emergent Scathe. And then next turn I have mana to do like everything. They're just going to pass. So I could like Dig Site Inventory. Don't even need to do that. I could just shield, and if they try to counter that or snap it, then I get to Blessing. They could have a counter for both, but I still get to hold up at Emergent Scathe, plus it gets 2 counters, so I think that's fine. They have a negate. Let's Benevolent Blessing. See if they have like a Spell Pierce or something. They don't, so we'll choose blue. And we could play the Armadillo. If I want to be really cautious, I could hold this unscathed, because they could have like Thraben Charm to kill this and then bounce. But I feel like the chances they have an untapped white source are so low, usually they only play 1 or 2 planes, that I think I'd rather just play the Armadillo. They cycle for a beachfront, so they will have white, but they'd have to untap it. Even if they do like a snap trick, they'd have to snap this to untap the white, so that's fine. This is 9, 10, 11, so I can't quite do lethal even if I pump this. And I would be going shields down, so that doesn't sound very good, but double dig site inventory on this. We're hitting for 9 with an Emerge Unscathed just in case. And now the Armadillo is lethal, so if they do find a way to bounce this, I can just kill them with the Armadillo. There's a Familiar, Chancery, snap on the Armadillo. They're going to pay Ward, and then we can just protection to counter it. That'll win us the game. That's what we're supposed to be doing. All right, no creatures, unfortunately not keepable. This has 1 Armadillo and 1 mana. On the draw, this does not seem very good. Armadillo is better with more mana, obviously. Alright, this one's better. Get rid of an Armadillo. We brought in Journeys, and it's not great. Like, all we have is protection for a Skyguard. But we can play a Skyguard on turn 2, hope to protect it on turn 3. I feel like we're, with so few cards, I feel like we're all in on the Skyguard, so I might just get rid of the Armadillo. But Armadillo by itself and a solid footing. No, I also need Vigilance, but that's not too hard to find. I guess we'll get rid of the Journey. I don't know. Bad mulligan, unfortunately. Play Remote Farm. We did get our solid footing. And another Remote Farm. So I could play Armadillo, and if they counter that, I could play Skyguard. I could do it the opposite way, but I'd rather them counter the Armadillo. So I think that's what we do. Glorious Gale. We'll play the Skyguard. Obviously no protection for it this turn, so they can still bounce it or whatever. But they didn't, and now we have Benevolent Blessing up. Solid footing. So we'll swing. Flash in the footing. Dealing 1 damage is like nothing. We don't have a clock that's really doing anything at all, so we gotta make it at least 3 here. Especially because we can still hold up the Blessing. There's a Familiar. Hyena Umbra is fine. They could still have a snap up, so I can't afford to play the Blessing proactively. Unless they, well, it would be reactive if they try to do something. But I'm all in on this Skyguard. And we're just hoping they don't have the interaction. God First Faithful. No land drop. We got a Plains. Unfortunately not hitting for lethal, but we're not in a terrible spot. I guess I'll play the Plains just so we can flash in Blessing without losing a farm. They have a Meeting of Minds. They have a Meeting of Minds up to 4. Preordain. Scry 2 to the top. That is not a good sign. Okay, maybe it was just another preordain to gain some life. Down to only 1 blue mana, and they already played an island, so that's pretty good, 'cause that means they can't snap and counterspell or double snap. Are they hoping 1 snap gets there, or... Also, 1 blue means they can only cast 1 more spell, which means they're still going to be at 7 life. Unless they have, like, Faithful into a blue spell. But they would still have to do that proactively, which means I could Blessing on this and make it 8 power. Unless they have, like, foil or something free. I'm not sure how they get to survive now. Trailblazer. Alright, we're going for the win. Yeah, Meeting of Minds. Puts him to 7. No blockers. Ephemerate. Doesn't do anything. I don't know if they're just trying to trip us up at the beginning of our combat here. But I don't see how that's going to stop us. Alright, we take the match. Alright, round 2 here, and this hand looks pretty good. We got the remote farm on turn 1 into a turn 2 Skyguard plus protection. Or if we're against elves, we might not even need protection. We'll just go all in. Ooh, another remote farm. Priest, but no extra land. So we're playing a Skyguard. Yeah, I think we just play a remote farm and just play everything next turn. These farms are looking very good here against elves that theoretically could be, we could be a little too slow for. Like, we're a fast deck, but if we were playing planes for these, it might be tough. They also have a bad Lead the Stampede, or a bad Winding Way there, which helps. They play Nyxborn Hydra just to chump, but we're going to get protection from green immediately, I think. We have 5 mana, so we can do Sentinel's Eyes, Ethereal Armor, Blessing, and Armadillo. Seems pretty good. We even have a second Blessing if they do have a... what's it called? Masked Vandal. Although currently they don't have a creature in the graveyard. Although I'm realizing we hit for 8. I might not have done the math, because if we Blessing Emergence-Scape, we're only hitting for 10. Whereas if I had Emergence-Scape this turn instead of the Armadillo, we would have hit for 1 more, and then 1 more the next turn, which would have been lethal. So maybe I shouldn't have played the Armadillo. I think that's definitely true. Elves, they can play a Timberwatch, which they do. I think we might be okay, but I definitely should have done the math, because we could have just had lethal this turn. Which I still could if I just draw one of our 8 Homestead Courages or Dig Site Inventories. No. So yeah, pump here, 9, 10. Well, if they get a million Quirion Rangers, we could die. But we're going to hope that doesn't happen, and that our mistake doesn't bite us. I just figured it was probably enough, but yeah. Should have done the math. Could have killed last turn. There's also a Generosent, which means they could have a Masked Vandal. Okay, I still have protection here, so it's not a big deal, especially if they're spending their mana doing that. Gonna play another Hydra, this one a little bigger. But we got a Blessing for this guy. Give Pro green again. And a solid footing, look at that. Swing for lethal. Alright, we didn't throw, that's good. We have Mask of Duty and Reason. I feel like we probably do want at least a couple lifelinks, because if they get in a good spot but not so good that they can deal like 30 or whatever, and so we can be offsetting their damage with like 10 damage of our own, I think that's probably good. I think Hyena Umbra is not super relevant. Maybe we want some Thraben Charms to blow up Nyxborn Hydra and also just kill a creature, exile a graveyard. I mean, we have Trailblazer and triple protection. We'll give this one a try. Only 1 mana is awkward and no other ways to pump. but if we're lucky, we draw a land, and then hopefully we just draw ways to deal extra damage. They got a priest, and nothing for 1 is nice. I could just kill the priest, probably worthwhile. It means I get in for nothing this turn, but otherwise I'm only getting in for like 1 anyway. So let's do that. They got another one. Sentinel's Eyes. We'll hit for 2. Just play another one. Another priest. Where's a holy light when you need one? They tap for 5 and untapped right away. Makes me think they were trying to play a Generous Hunt for 6 and realized they didn't have the mana. Well, they play an Avenging Hunter. That seems pretty good for us, seeing as we have a whole bunch of protection. Remote farm is not bad. Protection here. This one doesn't have vigilance, so I don't really want to buff it and attack. So I might as well just hit for 3, take the initiative, get a plains. So I could play the remote farm so we have more mana next turn and like play Armadillo. We have pretty good blockers. Even if they like Masked Vandal take away this shield, this is still big enough to block the Avenging Hunter. If I want to be very cautious, I could hold up Benevolent Blessing in case they have like a way to remove this with Masked Vandal and then a Monstrous Emergence. Or I could just give protection from green to this guy too. If I play Armadillo, they could attack with everything, and they're only losing 1 guy. Whereas if I shield on this guy, I can at least make them lose 2. At that point, I think I play the Armadillo. I could play the remote farm, but I want the mana for the Armadillo, which I wouldn't have down anyway, so I think we'll just do this. I don't know. They have a Fyndhorn Elves Timberwatch. Alright, no attacks is nice. We get... Scrying could be a lot better, actually, because I could get 2 counters here, but I could scry, and if I hit like Dig Site Inventory, I can get even more counters. Not to mention if I find my other one of Thraben Charm, I can kill this. I think we should scry, actually. Weird as it is. Dig Site Inventory, Spirit Link. Yeah, they're going to start dealing a lot of damage, but I can make this 11 toughness, which currently blocks this, but I'm not sure it will. I think these might be okay. I don't know. I guess I give Vigilance to this turn, but not for every turn, so let's just do this. We are not holding the Blessing again, but I know we're missing out on Trap and stuff like that. Obviously, the fact that the top two cards were exactly what we wanted makes it so I wish that I had Forged, but if they were 2 lands, like we definitely would have needed to get them out of the way to have a shot here. And they concede. All right. I wasn't sure if they'd have a way to punch through like a Quarian Ranger or something. We did have 16 toughness of protection from green, so we were definitely in a good spot there. All right, on the play here, we got Trailblazer, protection, life gain. Yeah, seems great. We get to start with Trailblazer. It only really goes bad if they like snuff it out right away. But if they're red or something, there's probably no way they can bolt it. In which case I could Blessing it right away. And then Spirit Link would be great. So this is a great hand to go up against red here, I think. More elves, looks like. It's not bad for that either. Although if I Blessing here, I'm only hitting for 1. So I think I'd rather just Armadillo and Solid Footing. I don't yet have Vigilance for the Solid Footing, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll find it soon. They have a Quarian Ranger. Do a little dance to make 3 mana. Winding Way. Winding Way hits Timberwatch Elf, Llanowar Elves, Generous Hunt, Merge Unscathed. I guess we're just going to lifelink here. I think I'm just going to Merge Unscathed as extra counters because I need a way to deal some extra damage, and I have 2 other ways to gain protection for unblockable. So let's just do this. Hit for 4. Really wish we just found one of our Dig Site Inventories or Homestead Courages for a whole bunch of extra damage. Although now if we find it, we won't also have protection, which is a little annoying. Actually, we will, because Emergent Scathe rebounds next turn. Cycle of Generous Hunt for a land, and then play a Timber Watch. Pro green here. Remote farm. Well, we hit for 6 if I Blessing, and then 7 next turn, which means I'm 1 short. Hopefully we draw something to make up that 1 then. Put them down to 8. We go up to 30. They have a Masked Vandal to take away the Blessing, but luckily we have another one. This doesn't actually remove any power, so we still just need to find anything that targets it for 1 damage. I have another Quarian Ranger, which means this could deal 13 on one of these guys. I probably might as well block, force them to pump it, and absorb some of the damage. They don't currently have a 2-turn clock, even with this pump, but if they have like a 3rd Ranger or a bunch more Elves next turn, maybe they would. Even with our lifelink, it seems unlikely, but I don't know. I don't really need this Armadillo. We get another Blessing. That will be good enough. Give protection from green. Here's another one. Give protection from green. Or whatever other color I want. Blue, I guess. And we'll hit for lethal. Alright, we get our Masks of Duty and Reason. Our Thraben Charms again. Alright, we got Trailblazer. We have Thraben Charm. 1 shield. That's the only way to pump it. We have a ton of mana. We do have a Thraben Charm. I'll keep. This might not be good enough. Especially getting even more mana here. I maybe should have just played a Plains and Trailblazer right away. I'm going to kill this Priest for sure, though. Emerge is decent because it gives a couple counters. They got a Winding Way, hitting Hydra, Priest, and Masked Vandal. They pass and we get another remote farm. Let's see, if I play Shield of Duty and Reason, it gives me an extra counter, but they just get rid of it with a Masked Vandal later. Emergent Scathe only gives us 1 counter. Well, 1 now, 1 later. And then we play a Trailblazer. I guess this is what we do. I gotta hit for some damage, even though this is pretty bad. We kept a sketchy hand that needed to draw mostly spells, and we've drawn 2 lands, and I guess we drew the Thraben Charm. No, we drew the Emergent Scathe. Not great. There's another Priest. Saga Wildling. Emergent Scathe comes back. We get another Plains. I hit for 2, but now they're getting 1,000,000 mana. Yeah, if those 3 lands were 3 spells, I think we would have just had it already. They're going to land Grant. They have a Lead the Stampede, which they're going to cast. Double Masked Vandal. They get a Timberwatch and Aquarian. So they get to play 2 Timberwatches here. It's pretty bad. And we're going to get a Plains. Yeah, I mean, that was just atrocious draws. Alright, let's see if we can pick up the match here. No creatures is not going to work. Still no creatures. I guess right now I just want a creature, but I also would love to get Courage and Footing together with a creature at some point. Alright, we have it. Trailblazer, dig side inventory, and then Solid Footing. We have to get rid of 2 cards, so I could get rid of Shield, or excuse me, I could get rid of double Emergent Scathed. But Emergent Scathe actually gives an extra counter, plus Shield is susceptible to Masked Vandal. Although Solid Footing is too, and I can't do anything about that. I probably go for the upside of the Shield. I mean, as far as 5-card hands go, this one's pretty decent. I would obviously love a Plains so that I can just go inventory Solid Footing this turn and hit for 8 instead of 2. But we'll see. They got a land grant. No Masked Vandals, nice to see. They have a Llanowar Elves. We don't get the Plains. So I don't want to dig site inventory yet, because I'd be wasting the Vigilance. So we'll just solid footing to start. And then next turn I can dig site inventory. They drew a Quarian Ranger. They could play their Timberwatch Elf now. Okay, not too scary. We got a Thraben Charm, but that doesn't do much. Let's just try to hit for 8. And then if we're lucky, we get a Plains next turn. I can shield and pump again. And that would just be lethal. Unless they chump here, which they could. I think I'd be okay with that too, though. If I don't get a land, I can still just shield next turn, but then I don't have Vigilance, which means I'm only hitting for 5. But it would be unblockable, and it would be a reliable 2-turn clock. They Roost Seek. Roost Seek again. They're going to pass. Come on, give me that Plains. Perfect. Unless they have instant speed way to get rid of an enchantment. This will just be lethal. Vigilance makes it so it's lethal damage, and then this is unblockability. Multa 5, and we even got the combo that we've been wanting to do the whole league. So that was sweet. Took down Elves a second time. On the play here in this next round, and this hand is incredible. Turn 1 Trailblazer into turn 2 Sentinel's Eyes and Footing. So as long as we're not against like a snuff out removal deck of some sort, Mountain is totally fine, because not only do we have the Spirit Link, but we're just going to get way too big too quickly that there should be almost no way they can kill it. Sentinel's Eyes, they're going to think they're taking 2. All of a sudden they're going to take 8. And the next turn I can make that, what, like 15-ish with lifelink? Synth Integrate Furnace, which they don't even play because they played their Mountain first. Another Tomb Raider, but we have an Ethereal Armor. Spirit Link. Remote Farm, yeah, 14. Pretty close with my fast maths. And even if they block, we gain 14 life. They're not going to win that one almost ever. So, pretty nice start for us. We do have a couple Mask of Law and Grace, but honestly, our deck is kind of just built to beat them anyway. We do have a couple Spirit Links too, though. And I guess we cut not Protection. Blessing is really good, but it is more expensive. I think it's probably better to cut a couple dig site inventories. But what next? Maybe it is like a Blessing, just because it's 2 mana. And a Sentinel's Eyes. If we just get one big creature they can't kill that gains lifelink, as we saw there, we pretty much just win the game. So that's the goal. 3 Spirit Links, unfortunately 1 mana and no creatures. Here we have Spirit Link. We have some good stuff. We do have just Armadillos, which are a little worse, but I actually get to... They're harder to kill because of the Ward 1, so actually maybe they're not bad here. I guess Homestead Courage, growing them, giving Vigilance might be better than Armor. If I go all in on 1 Armadillo, they could maybe kill it. Although Ward 1 is really tough for them to get through. Unless they Fire Blast it, like they have to spend 2 spells, which is like 4 mana. I think we're going to chance it and get rid of an Armadillo, hoping they cannot kill just the 1. Especially because I'm going to remote farm, and then on turn 2, I can Armadillo and pump it right away. They have an Epicure, swing for 1. So here's Armadillo, and then I guess Ethereal Armor plus Sentinel's Eyes is the biggest buff. Make it a 7 toughness thing, which means they have to throw... If they have a Bolt and a Fire Blast, using their entire turn and sacrificing 2 mountains, they can kill it, which honestly would probably be worth it if they had that. And if they don't have exactly that, I can grow it more, and then we probably pull ahead. If they do have that, then I don't draw a creature, I'll probably lose, though. Burning Tree Emissary. Tomb Raider. No attacks. Here we get to Spirit Link. Give it Vigilance. And just grow it a whole bunch. More Vigilances. So 7 power, first strike, basically lifelink. Epicure. Also, first strike plus Spirit Link is nice because Spirit Link is a trigger, as we all know, probably. But that means that if they dealt us lethal damage, the trigger wouldn't resolve yet. But first strike means we'll deal damage first, so that makes it a lot better. Oh, we get a Mask of Law and Grace. Pro red. I could Homestead Courage. Yeah, it doesn't have Vigilance otherwise. Oh, it does. It has Sentinel's Eyes. Might as well get the extra life. But protection, they can't kill it. Lifelink, it's insane. Alright, been very lucky going first a lot of these matches. Unfortunately, this hand is... one creature in this hand is incredible, but we don't have it. We don't have it here either. Alright, this is an okay mold of 5. I think we have to go all in on Trailblazer and hope it's good enough. Going up against red again is pretty nice. That can help. We just need to get this big enough and then get a Spirit Link. Ooh. So I was going to Hyena Umbra and Sentinel's Eyes. That's actually probably good enough. I was going to say Blessing might be better. But this gives +4, so it's a 4/8 with Umbra armor. There's like no way they're going to be able to kill that. Plus Vigilance means I get to attack. So this is a little bit better. There's no way they're blocking now. So I can wait until it's a little bit later and more likely they'll jump to Blessing and then they can't block. Alright, Plains, bit of a waste honestly, but we're already in a very good spot. We just need them to not have like a giant Bushwhacker turn. And we might be okay. Ren's Resolve is slow, so that's okay. And no mana, so they're going to play these next turn. Obviously, Spirit Link could probably be our best draw for some life gain, but otherwise, just some way to pump this would be nice. Ooh, Dig Site Inventory is pretty good. Not quite lethal, but pretty close. So might as well do that. And they concede. Alright, let's swap in those Masks of Law and Grace and the extra Spirit Links. What did we take out? A Blessing. Sentinel's Eyes, maybe? Sure. The old 1 minute game 1 on a mold of 5. Can't keep this one, obviously. We have Sky Guard. It is on turn 2. Oh, and we have an Armadillo, and then a Blessing. Yeah, on a mold of 6, we're going to keep this. I think get rid of a Plains. Can't really afford to get rid of a spell. This hand is not amazing, but it's not terrible either. Chain Lightning to the Dome. Okay. I like your style. Trailblazer. Let's just start with a remote farm. The next turn I can... If I'm lucky, I get, like, Sentinel's Eyes, and I can pump up the Trailblazer enormously. Raise is their game plan. Okay. The fact that they're doing nothing is actually pretty reasonable, like, pretty okay for me. I think I'm going to Trailblazer, because it's 4 toughness. They have to, like, send 2 spells to kill it. They didn't have another raise. No, I didn't have a second land. They could have another raise, actually. In which case, we're stuck, but what am I going to do about that? Ren's Resolve, that's totally fine. Bolt Galvanic. But I can just Hyena Umbra to protect this. So it shouldn't die. Even if it does, they just lose the Umbra. Probably going to just throw this at us, I assume. Tomb Raider. Bolt. Okay, waste the Galvanic. Perfect. So I could Spirit Link. I'm only hitting for 3 and gaining 3. If I Ethereal Armor, I hit for 2 extra, but I don't gain any life this turn. I probably don't need to hit faster, right? I just need to make sure I don't die. So let's just go for the Spirit Link. 7 toughness with Umbra Armor is very, very difficult for them to... And it's that easy. About a 1 hour trophy. This is literally the first league I've played this season, and trophy with you know, pretty sweet deck, I must say. Not upset about that at all. I mean, The deck felt good. Honestly, we probably got a couple good matchups. Mono Red is definitely one of our best matchups. That's kind of one of the reasons to play this deck is you get any creature that doesn't die, and then you slap a, where is it? Spirit Link on it, you win the game. We also went against Elves twice, which I wasn't sure if that was going to be good for us, but the remote farms sped us up, made it so that we weren't slowing down at all. And they have Masked Vandals, but we had so many ways to gain protection between the Blessings, the Emergent Scathe, and then in the sideboard, the Shields, that even when they removed one of these, it wasn't a big deal. And I don't remember who we played round 1, but we played against Familiars. That's probably a decent matchup for us, too. They don't have a lot of interaction. They have a lot of guys that are just meant to chump block, but if we can gain protection from them, we can get past them. So, yeah, this deck was sweet. Do I think this is the best way to play the deck? I'm not exactly sure, but it worked really well, and if you're going to go up against a bunch of elves and burn, seems like a decent way to do it. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks to my supporters, like my $10 and up monthly supporters, Howard Granger, JD NPX, Halcaz, Cody Cowell, Sty, Benedict, and DJ Vinyl. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.